Hi everyone, and welcome to another video about video games with me, Rob, and today we're talking about Conglomerate 451, which is developed by Runeheads, who made Fall of Light Darkest Edition, and it's published by 1C Entertainment, and it's available on PC and on Macs as well. It's a cyberpunk first-person dungeon crawler, which uses turn-based encounters and a targeting system that allows you to target different areas on your enemies' bodies. Very much in the vein of games like Vagrant Story, which was out on the PlayStation, and unlike modern first-person shooters where you can just basically aim and shoot at a particular body part. Well, it's kind of a cross between the two, I suppose. You can focus on a particular body area and it highlights the area, and that is where you will shoot. It's more of a 3D combat environment, in that enemies can start off far away, and if they're melee enemies, they have to make their way towards you, whereas ranged enemies can shoot you from anywhere. You can start attacking all these enemies while they're still at a distance and take them out, and that is an interesting aspect to the combat of this game. Unlike the first-person dungeon crawlers that you find on the Nintendo 3DS and the PS Vita and the PSP and various other handheld devices like that, and even some home consoles as well. So games like Dungeon Travelers 2 and Eye of the Beholder, the original Eye of the Beholder that is, Bard's Tale, if I remember rightly, Bard's Tale 4 may also fit into that category. You are the CEO of a special agency which is instructed by the Senate of Conglomerate Ctym to restore order to Sector 451. And the game starts off with you meeting this rather attractive robot. It's very clear she is a robot. Is it her? No, it isn't. A red helmeted robot. And I'm not sure how to describe it other than that. And the robot tells you to name your agency and start picking out troops to basically take into the field, and they will handle the pacification of Sector 451. This is where it gets a little bit interesting, because as you're navigating these areas of Sector 451, you can basically get into various fights. But then when you finish the fights, you go back to your headquarters, and there you can open up new laboratories, clone troops, heal troops, add new abilities, add new research branches, and various things like that. And that's where the game has a slight edge, but it's still a game that's very much in the vein of the current anime-based 2D dungeon crawlers that you see inhabiting the PS Vita, in that they also allow you to do those things from your headquarters. Not in the same way, they call it different things, but that is also something that happens. And I'm actually glad that Runeheads are looking at those sorts of games and saying, we'll do something that's a lot more westernized and it'll be a lot more approachable. Fans of things like The Matrix or the William Gibson novels, anything like that, they might be more attracted to Conglomerate 451. It is kind of common or garden dungeon crawler though, and I'll be honest, it's a game that I found a bit more difficult to get into because the story was a little bit, well, the story was quite lacking, and I think with games like this, the actual desire to explore the dungeon does not outweigh the value of the story. I think the two have to go hand in hand. You have to have a reason for venturing into these environments and fighting these bad guys or creatures or whatever you want to call them. Otherwise, what's the point in risking your life? That's the thing, there was no real sense of urgency, there was no real sense of tension while I was playing the game. It was all very relaxed, and I could basically take my time with the fights. It just felt quite lacking, it just felt quite flat. I think that it's not a bad effort from Runeheads. I do think that there are a lot of positives in the game. The fact that you can manage your resources, you can do body modifications, you've got a pain and trauma system. All those things, I think, actually help the game just raise itself a little bit. But it would have been nice if there was a bit more freedom and a bit more flexibility. See, Conglomerate 451 is one of those games where, yes, okay, it can work as a first-person dungeon crawler, but really it needs to be a third-person action-adventure, which sounds a bit weird coming from me, considering how sick of third-person action-adventures I am. But I do think Conglomerate 451 would have been better as that sort of game, with maybe more of an investigatory twist to it. Maybe a bit like the Arkham games by Rocksteady, where you can basically hide and listen into conversations and stuff like that. And if there was a bit more espionage, see, that's the bit that I think is severely lacking in this game, is the espionage aspect. It's very much a stand and fight and beat your enemy type game, and then beat your chest because you're such a man that you've beaten the enemy. And that's... See, if you've got a government organisation that is trying to pacify a rebellious area, and you've got a game called Conglomerate 451, which is very clearly taken from the book Fahrenheit 451, then yes, you are going to have shadowy government organisations, and yes, they will be involved in various espionage activities, which means if you're making a game about those organisations, then yes, you need to include the espionage aspect. The ability to sneak around and just basically avoid a fight, I think, is more important than taking NPCs and monsters down in a fight. And it'd be nice if that was something that was remembered by developers going forward. The control system is basically your standard mouse and keyboard controls for your PC, but you can use your controller with the game as well. I actually found I was using a mouse and my controller just so I could look around because one was cancelling the other out. That might just be a problem with my system with the way things are plugged in. I'm not sure. I will look into that. I'm going to leave it there. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Did you like Conglomerate 451? Did you hate it? We are always interested in knowing. If you want to see more videos like this, then hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll see you all next time.
Great. Everything will be recorded and sent to the administration department. Now, if you want to follow me, I'll lead you into the agent's quarters. Here you will meet your current agent squad.